Hi everybody, this is Diana Rose. Welcome to my channel. So I'm here to give you guys a review on Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is episode 2, season 4, and yeah, there wasn't a whole lot that went down that we didn't already know. It was the things that wasn't completely communicated that was way more interesting. Like the end of the episode, there's a scene with Tiffany and Stormy where Tiffany says something that kind of rattles everybody. And I'm like, well, girl, what happened? But you guys, I've been waiting all day for it to drop on the internet, but I haven't seen anything yet. If you guys see it, please let me know in the comments. And then the other thing was Kimmy and Maurice was kind of talking in a circle, and I did not like that. I'll tell you guys about it in the review. And also, what's up with her and her relationship with Tisha? It looks like it's been mended because if y'all remember at the season 3 reunion, Carlos asked Kimmy, would you and Tisha be friends if you weren't family? And Tisha said absolutely not. Or excuse me, Kimmy said absolutely not because Tisha's too much work. So it is going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. It looks like her and Kimmy and Tisha are cool, like in their, communication on IG. But sometimes when these shows play out, it has a way of bringing those old feelings back up about things. So let's see if it stays that way because as we all know, Tisha is petty Betty, okay? But yeah, outside of that, let's get into the review. So the scene opens up with Martell doing a photo shoot for a sexy calendar, and we have all seen the pictures of him in a bathtub with rose petals across his lap. There's another where he has a picture of himself shirtless with the American flag draped over his bald head, and all of this was suggested to him by his new manager, Mel. And Mel is short for Melnica, and he said he's known her for 28 years, ever since they were in middle school. He said that the relationship is purely platonic, and he says that he knows how to keep his friends, unlike you know who, okay? That was a dig at Melody. But he needs some baby oil, which it looks like his new manager forgot to bring. So all the things that would make that photo shoot successful, baby oil, lotion, water spritz, things like that, she forgot to bring it. She was like, I'm sure the photographer has it. And he said, I absolutely do not have baby oil, okay? So Martell said, never fear, let me call my good friend Destiny, who's only a minute away. She'll bring it from her beauty supply store. So Melnica goes off to make some phone calls. Martell talks a little bit about the kids, making them entrepreneurs by having them write their first book and how proud he was of that achievement. And then Melnica comes back and rattles off a bunch of things that he has upcoming, like books, book signings, travel, real estate deals. And then she said, you are a big deal. Okay, so she boosts his ego a little bit. So then Destiny arrives with the baby oil, and she says there's no way in hell that I'm going to put baby oil on him. They start making some jokes. Destiny tells him that it's good to see him getting his brand back together. You know how we talked. So she's letting everybody know that they talk and encourage each other. Martell starts making his man boobs dance, and she tells him to put that away. Martell says, ain't nothing over here thinking about your ass. And she's like, good, good, good. Anyway, they, go back and forth with those little jokes for a minute. And then they attempt to have this really phony ass conversation about life after divorce. But we all know that Destiny does not talk about her ex or their marriage. So it literally was 2 seconds of absolutely nothing. Melody actually gave us more about what happened in Destiny and LeBeric's marriage than Destiny has ever given us, okay? Then Destiny says, oh, I didn't tell you what happened in LA. And Martell had the nerve to cock his head to the side and squint his eyes like he was really curious when he already knew what happened. And he's like, no, what happened? And she says, oh, Mel was listening to me and Tisha outside of our hotel room. And then the next day we had lunch and talked about it, or breakfast and talked about it. And she said, well, I don't have a problem with what you said. I have a problem with you talking to my enemy. And then Martell shook his head. Yeah, that means you're her enemy now too. In Confessional, Martell says that Destiny is really hurt by Melody pulling her friendship away, and that Melody requires people to follow behind her. At the end of it, I was like, who cares what Martell has to say? Why is he sensitive to Destiny's hurt when he wasn't sensitive to the hurt he was putting on his wife and children? Yeah, that felt, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm going to put it like that. It feels like you're trying to paint Melody in a negative light. At the end of the day, Melody gave Destiny enough respect to sit in front of her and say, listen, because of these things, I can't rock with you. And you didn't do that for your wife. So really what you should be doing is taking notes. In the next scene, we have Melody and Stormy. Melody arrives at Stormy's warehouse. It's the first time she's there. She has on her black tights, her high heels, and her gloves. Stormy is also wearing black tights and heels. And Stormy says, hey, we look like someone out of Black Mafia family. And Melody said, yeah, ready to karate chop that ass. Anyway, Stormy says, let's walk and talk. And she's basically giving Mel advice about inventory management. Then Stormy cut to the chase and asked Mel the question she was paid to ask, which was, how was the reunion? Mel squinted her eyes, turned her head like, are you really asking me this? And then Stormy just went for the jugular. How didn't you remember giving somebody fellatio? And Melody squinted her eyes again like, are you serious? And then she just basically said, listen, I don't owe him anything. That was the first thing. I don't owe him anything. She was like, I've never had those conversations with anybody like that, and I'm not going to start now. Then Melody pointed out that it's Martell's baby mama who likes to tell everyone Martell eats the groceries and everything up and down the aisle. So, I don't know, y'all. Is this Melody using this girl's likeness? Y'all tell me. Moving on, then Melody invites Stormy to her pajama party, and Stormy says, who's going to be there? Melody gives her the list, and Stormy says, no Tisha. Melody said, no Tisha, and she proceeds to tell her what happened at the reunion. She said, basically, this girl was smirking, and she was super happy, taking pleasure in the things that was happening to me on that stage. She was enjoying my pain, and I was like, girl, wasn't she? I saw it too. And then she said, no Destiny. She said, absolutely not, because Destiny was talking about me to Tisha. So that's two people. She was like, Tiffany will be there. And then Stormy says, I don't F with Tiffany. She was like, I'm not sure. She said, she gives me weird and thirsty. I was like, well, damn. So next up is Tisha and Marceau. Tasha Marceau are at the office, and the scene opens with Marceau handing Tisha a cup of coffee. And I couldn't help but to think about the time Destiny came to the office to talk business about her build out. And Tisha was all in Marceau and Destiny's business, so much so that they both were annoyed. And then Marceau told Tisha to go get him a cup of coffee. Like, can you get a cup of coffee and leave us alone, please? And then when Tisha came back, Destiny had made the comment, what does a girl do? Just serve coffee? Well, honey, Marceau was passing the cup to Tisha this time around, because as we know, that blue blazer means that Tisha has her master's degrees and now she can talk business, not just sugar and cream, okay? Anyway, they were talking about the 10 acres and where they are now. Tisha was like, I sent you an email. Do you see the plans? Blah, blah, blah. And then Tisha makes a comment, look, have been in this investment property for 30 months. I thought we was only going to be in here for 12 months. They showed, the 10 acres of land that's going to be Scott Manor. And they want us to know they got money, honey. Okay. They do a little yip yap back and forth. It's cute, whatever. Then Miss Wanda shows up, and Miss Wanda looks real hesitant when she walks in. Real apprehensive, but she comes in the door. Marceau in Confessional makes a joke about, oh, I thought vampires needed to be invited in. I guess she's a daywalker. Then Tisha says, look, I need you to be a little more respectful when you address or talk about my mother. And Marceau looked at Tisha like, you wish I'm more respectful. That will never happen. And he literally started giggling and doubled over in his laughter in Confessional. Basically, Miss Wanda sits down and they start going back and forth a little bit. You know how they do, Marceau and Miss Wanda. Then Miss Wanda says, I need you to cut the check. And Marceau's like, cut the check? Wait a minute, for what? What's going on? And Tisha said, well, we invested in her business. We're basically buying her food truck. Marceau said, when did this happen? Why didn't you talk to me about it? She said, I did. You told me that once she gets everything together, that we can move forward, and that's what we're doing. He was like, that was my sneaky way of saying, no, Tisha. But then he entertains Miss Wanda for a minute and says, what are you going to do on this food truck? She was like, I'm making loaded potatoes, and it's called Show Nuff Wanda's. And then Marceau says, well, I'll give you a check if you make me a cup of coffee. And she's like, stop playing with me. But I was thinking, why would you want Wanda to make you a cup of coffee? Because if she goes back there, she's going to put a little Suge Avery P in it. That's what she do, okay? There's nothing about Wanda that says she's on the up and up. Ain't nobody buying nothing from that food truck. Anyway, they go back and forth. Finally, Wanda's pissed enough to say, yo, I have a question with an R. I can't even say it, okay? But she says she has a question. He says, sure, ask your question. And then she was like, well, I need to know you're going to tell the truth. He said, you ask and I'll decide if I'm going to be honest with you or not. She was like, did you have an apartment with Martell? Birds of a feather flock together. He said, I ain't never flocked with him. Then in Confessional, he says, if I had a secret, not even a secret apartment, just a secret, why the hell would I tell Wanda? I don't talk to her like that. Then he says, I've never said I was transparent because I'm not. So then Wanda says, if you refuse to answer it, that means there's some truth to it. And then Tisha basically says, listen, I 100% believe in my husband. I took those vows with him. That's who God put me with. That's it. I don't care about the rumors. Now, I honestly didn't expect anything less from Tisha. That's who she's been since season 1. She pretends like she's cool in one scene, and then, 2-3 scenes later, she's bringing all these questions up from that scene. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. However, Marsau acting like he had this limited friendship with Martell is really strange to me. He has a company called Schult. That means his last name, Scott, and Martell's last name, Holt. You guys were business partners. And according to all of y'all were really good friends with Martell. And Melody's mama worked for your company. She actually called you when Melody and Martell's relationship blew up, and you, by yourself, drove to meet her in a parking lot to calm her down. So you're saying I wasn't that close with Martell. I'd never been anywhere by myself with Martell. It's giving me lie. It's giving me the lie spirit. And you're giving me clown spirit. So in the next scene, we have Kimmy, Maurice, and Jaylin. Kimmy and Maurice show up at Jaylin's house. They just let themselves in. Jaylin makes this little joke like, honey, put your clothes on, or something like that. Baby, put your clothes on. Kimmy, seemed like she was a little thrown off by that. Her baby boy is grown now. So she got to let him be grown, okay? He's more likely, I don't know, both of y'all are kind of the same. I feel like Kimmy be getting down whenever she can at her house, so she really should take the keys from Jaylin and give Jaylin his key back. Y'all knock on the door anytime y'all show up at each other's house, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, they all sit on the couch, and Jaylin is kind of nervous, but he asked the question, are y'all okay? And they're like, what do you mean, are we okay? And this scene felt so produced, and part of it just felt like, why are y'all talking to Jaylin like he's 3 instead of talking to him like he's a grown man? It just felt weird. He's like, well, the picture came out and there was all these comments under the picture, and I'm like, damn, these people know more about my family than I know about my family. And then Kimmy was like, well, what did you see? Well, what kind of question? The same damn things you saw, Kimmy. What are you talking about? Anyway, Jaylin didn't tell him what. He just said at the end of it, I basically was like, did he cheat on my mama? And then instead of Maurice answering the question, because I would have rather Maurice answered it, it was about him. Kimmy was like, no, we talked in depth before and after our marriage, and we do not agree with infidelity. Now, saying you don't agree with it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And then Maurice says, well, those things written wasn't accurate. Okay, accurate doesn't mean not true. It just means that there's some part of what was said or done that wasn't true. Okay, there's a lot that was true, a lot that's not. Because I would have said, well, which parts weren't accurate? But he didn't want to know, so he didn't ask the question. And I really felt like in that scene, what it was saying to me is that Maurice has told her that he did do something. So that's what it felt like to me. Y'all tell me in the comments. I know you will. But I felt at that stage, Kimmy was giving me, listen, we don't agree with it. You don't have to worry about it. That's not something that we, get down with here. But something absolutely happened. And I do believe that Kimmy was told. That's how I felt about it. Anyway, moving on to the last scene. And that would be the pajama party. So everyone's arriving at Mel's house one by one in their black silk pajamas and their black slippers. It's Kimmy, Stormy, Tiffany, and Kiki. Other people are in attendance, but those 4 are the major players along with Melody. She has this beautiful setup in the house, these white sleeping tents with gold and black accents. There's finger foods and drinks everywhere. And yeah, they all gather in the kitchen. Stormy, Kimmy, Kiki, and Melody. Tiffany is not in the kitchen with this scene. They got her booted out. They don't want her to mess up this conversation because it's getting juicy, okay? And yeah, they basically get right into it. Kiki asks, Miss Kimmy, where's the other Scott? And she was like, this isn't my party. This is Melody's party. She is in charge of the guest list. And Kiki was like, oh, okay. She didn't look super surprised or shocked, but as we remember, in season 3, I just want to say there's no continuity here. Kiki came to Kimmy to let her know, yo, you weren't a loyal family member or friend to Tisha. Now you sitting in Melody's house doing the same damn thing you accused Kimmy of in season 3. So moving on. But yeah, they're sitting at the table or at the countertop, and Stormy asks Kimmy, says to Kimmy, my heart was hurt when I saw that picture. Are you okay? Basically. And, off in confessional, Kimmy's like, I'm tired of the question. I understand why people are asking it because it is everywhere and I'm going to do my best to answer it. So she has to carry the burden for Maurice. I would knock Maurice ass out. Why would you do this? I would knock out Marsau too. And they're trying to figure that out. Like, why are you being so calm about this? You should be more mad about this. Aren't you upset that your brother-in-law thought that was a joke? And she was like, yeah. She was like, well, what do you think he did it for? I think Melody's asking this question now because Stormy started off hot, but Melody came in and finished it for everybody. She was like, you think he did that as a joke? Why? She was like, I don't know. That's just what she said. She was like, he got an interesting sense of humor, don't he? And then she was like, do you believe nothing was going on? And Kimmy said, no, I don't think that they were there to meet other people or with other people, even though they were there with someone who was with someone else. Another married man that they called a friend was there with another woman, and you don't think that your man was doing the same. So that's interesting to me. But Kimmy is, 10 toes down. She's like, listen, he told me he wasn't. I believe it. However, if something comes up in the future, I would not be flabbergasted. Again, that tells me that she knows. Because at the end of the day, if you have to say, I'm preparing, I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing for the worst with your husband, someone you're supposed to trust, someone you're supposed to trust to protect you from the very thing that's happening in that room, which is people are talking about you. They're doing it to your face, but they're still doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool. And for him to be like, well, I just don't give a F. Well, that's because you don't give a F because everybody you are in this circle with are doing the same damn thing. So y'all can brush it off y'all shoulder. I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, Kimmy just takes the brunt of the heat. Melody basically says to Kimmy, from what she's experienced with Marsau, expect something to come behind it, because he doesn't joke like that. When he does stuff like that, he does it with an intent. Something else is coming. Trust me, take it from me is basically how she's saying it. And I'm like, well, damn. Everybody else is saying the same thing. Stormy tells her, listen, everybody's heard the rumors about Marceau, but nobody heard any rumors about Maurice. That's how she put it. And then Melody just decided to go for the jugular and said, hey, Kiki, how do you think your cousin Tisha's taking this? Has she heard rumors before 2018, which would have been the taping of the show? And Kiki confirmed, yeah, there were rumors out there before 2018. Melody said, what? Are you sure? Like, Melody is like, literally, she feels vindicated in this moment. I know she said in another interview that she's not vindictive, but she damn sure wanted people to know this rumor wasn't out here because of her. This rumor has been ongoing prior to the taping of this show, okay? Melody also lets everybody know that she does not rock with Tisha anymore. They're not friends, and she's not going to make any efforts to be friends at this point. So I feel like this was her grand finale. I want all of y'all to know I didn't try to destroy that girl's marriage. I want all of y'all to know those rumors started before this show started and before I said anything. So just like she thinks she knows things about me, I know things about her. So in the next scene, we have Tiffany. She comes over, asks Kimmy if she can talk to her. They go off on the side. Kimmy looks like, I don't want to talk to you, but she does it because, she has to. And Tiffany's like, the thing you said at the reunion where you're like, I heard you got fired from the chamber. I wasn't working for the chamber. I haven't worked for the chamber in 5 years. Kimmy's like, I don't give a damn if you work for the chamber or not. I was just basically saying, you keep coming at us talking about transparency and asking us to tell you things. Why don't you sit down and tell us some things, okay? Tell us what's going on with you and stop trying to find out everybody else's business. Tiffany nods her head. Then here comes Stormy. And Stormy's like, what y'all talking about? The chamber? Like, she immediately jumps in. And I feel like she was kind of being a little pushy where she didn't have to be. And Tiffany is looking a little apprehensive and confessional. She's like, me and Kimmy were like, resolving things. And she basically showed up at the wrong time. And then here comes Melody. She's basically the same thing. What y'all talking about? And then it's all about the chamber. Tiffany's like, listen, I have my own business. I've had it for over 5 years. And then Stormy is still being just a tad bit aggressive where she didn't need to be. Well, you can't be mad at them because that's how you was introduced and that's how they know you from. And then out of nowhere, then Tiffany says, y'all bringing up the chamber is like me bringing up something from, oh, I don't know, from when I was 12. And everybody stops breathing, okay? Melly grabs a drink. She puts it up to her face. Her eyes are open big. She kind of ducks back behind Kimmy so that Stormy doesn't see her face. Kimmy's trying to figure it out. And then when she does, she goes, oh, you were being smart. Then Stormy looks dead in the camera and you can tell she is pissed. She wanted to yank Tiffany out that seat right then and there. In Confessional, Stormy says, there's some shit you just don't do. My discernment tells me to stay away from someone with that type of character because it won't end well. When they come back into the room, the cameras come back. Kimmy's like, you took that all the way left. And I'm telling you, the whole time I'm like, well, what the hell happened? What the hell happened to Stormy or somebody Stormy knows, maybe her husband when he was 12? I don't know, but something went down. That scene meant something, okay? Anyway, Tiffany says, I think we're going to go get that drink. I think we should all go get that drink. And Stormy says, you need one, baby. And then she gets up. She said, because you tripping, boo. And then she said, that bitch crazy. Okay, that's how the scene ends. So first off, hats off to Tiffany for, pulling one out, the crack of her, where. But if y'all ain't going to tell us what happened, somebody better tell us something. That's all I'm going to say. If y'all know what happened to Stormy or what happened to Stormy's people, husband, something, when he was 12, please drop it in the comments because something happened, okay? And that's pretty much how the show ends. So y'all let me know what y'all think of this episode. I love hearing from y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will check y'all on the next one.